Yes. It seems to run. Yes. There was a feedback. I killed that. As the people who watched former episodes know, the real show will begin at techno o'clock, 9:09 in the evening. So it's a little bit of building suspense now. And I can... if someone can write in the chat if my voice is to be heard, just to be sure. I can also spoil that this one I wanted to use the Roland JV right in the center of the picture. Yes, let me go over there. Here, this one, I wanted to use it, and today to use the main sound, yes, of spring, and there's a technical problem. Who had guessed that? It's a technically haunted live stream series, I can tell you. Yes. No, the thing I did is well, let me just show you this one. This is the arrange of Spring converted from Logic 9 to Logic 10, which has been converted before from, I think, Logic 7 to 9, roughly 5 years ago or 8 years ago, and more than 10 years ago it must have been converted from version 4 to 7 or something, and I think it was written in Logic 2 on a Apple Quadra 650, and I put that one into my Logic 10, and Midi plays inside it perfectly. And I tried to trigger the outside world, and just half an hour ago, and I can't make it run with external gear, which makes my endeavor impossible to use the Roland JV with the original Midi to come close to the original sound, which is really making me sad and angry and frustrated a little bit. Please write some nice words into the chat. I think I will play the harmonica instead tonight. No, of course not. We will dissect the arrangement, the Midi of Spring, and we will see whether we can find the secret ingredients. That, I have to be honest, this really great rave track makes a really great rave track. Back in the day I called that melodic techno, but no, not true. This version was also called Rave version because it was really fast. It was going up to 165, I think. There's a speed ramp. And but generally I was convinced I was still doing techno in the mid-90s. Although it was melodic, but it was not trance to me. And Rave was also, there were no vocals sometimes in Rave. I don't know. Let me tell you. Let you tell me, please. Please tell me in the chat. What genre would you put Spring 1996 into? Would be great. Vocal contact. No, it's not a loose contact. We had that before. It's much more complex. What now is not working. But I think I will figure out something else and do some stuff with the MIDI that we do have here. So yeah, someone is writing melodic techno. That's great, because the V909 format is about producing the eternal techno track called Techno Continuum, and there will be melodies, of course, and harmony changes. There are harmony changes, and I never was convinced that techno has to be straight in one harmony. I always thought that a melody can be combined with techno without it not being called techno anymore. I need a sip. Yeah, it's been a long day, and so I could only start at about 8 with this one here, and I already had that problem. Yes, but I can see there are quite some people watching now. Okay, I will prepare for the start at 9:09, techno o'clock. And for those who didn't figure out, I will just spoil V909 is also because it's Wednesday 9:09, huh? And the people who like to watch this on Wednesday 9 o'clock in the evening are called Weeple, of course. So I will put that over here, and then I might just jump in there. Hello, Weeple. Welcome to this special edition of V909, the Spring Retrospective Special Edition. Call it whatever you want. We are right now jumping into... I just put something in here too. I mean, that was it. That was the original untouched arrangement that through some iterations technically was right from the 1996 March 1996. The final version was from the 9th, and it only has been cut, as you can also see here. This oh no, you can't see it. I have to change it. Yeah. Okay. So see, this is this, and I have worked a little bit. I try to play the JV directly, and it doesn't work because my MIDI outside from this one, which really was coming straight from the 90s, the innards of this song. Somehow it ruined my external MIDI capabilities, and I cannot trigger external MIDI. We will see something about that later. Here, this one, I will make it red, because yes. This is the original maxi vocal mix from the CD. And as you can see, it has been cut. Also, the original arrangement that was recorded on that in the 9th, I think I will look into the file folder to be really sure later. And it only has in the following week, back in 96, of course, been cut via hard disk recording in two places here. You can see there to make it more unboring, to make it more interesting, to cut some things where not very much happened. So and we can always, I cannot play too much of it, because then the two, the science fiction movies where there is time travel and where there is the paradoxon that someone travels back and kills his own father, or I don't know, grandpa, and then two possible futures will collide, and one of them. So, and the problem is me having written, composed 100% and produced 90% of this song. When I play back something of that is too long, then it will collide with the version of the truth, which is written on the CD, where, yes, legal problems could arise, and the GEMA will come and tell me, so I can play it a lot. But You know the beginning. Oh, I don't hear it. It's very soft, is it? Yeah, I mean, it is very soft in the beginning, of course. The original maxi. But we can jump into it for yeah, I mean, you know the song. Hopefully. If someone does not know the song, what are you doing here? So I will just trigger it and you can listen to it at home. And I can just start with the beginning, but I will have one brief look into the chat if things are making a little bit of sense to you. I will close the bibliothek here. There's also a lot of stuff here, and what is really crazy is this is somewhere here is whispering. I forgot. Look at this. This is originally from the week around my birth, around my 22nd birthday in '96. I worked on whispering in parallel. I totally forgot about that because it's all in the same arrangement, and it's this year's. At least somewhere here is also whispering, but this is spring. So let me have a look into the chat. Why the hat? It's not a hat. It's a cat. It's eine Mütze. It's a Mütze. If you don't hear it in my voice, yes, I'm not totally fit, but the main reason is that my hair looks shit, and yeah, I need to go to a hairdresser. And you know this pandemic thing that's going on. I don't know if you heard about it, and I choose to hide my hair. The rest of it, I mean, most of it is gone, but the rest I will due to several reasons. It's a Mütze. What's it? Cap? No, it's not a cap. It's not a hat. It's not a cap. It's a beanie, maybe. So, yes, and then there was one of the versions ended. Ooh, there are many questions now. Is there? So I talked about which is was put on the CD. So the original firstborn version, which this is the arrangement of, was put on a master DAT, and later, some days later, I can look up which date exactly, it was just cut, and this was going to the CD, and the video version was cut a little bit later, I think, and then there were live versions and whatnot. Gima tells you can't play yourself. I can, but then you have to pay. No, I don't know. I don't care. I will not play too much of the song. The commercially released video. Yeah, there. Because there is some advertisement and people will earn money and everyone is happy. So Natalia put the link. And am I allowed to click this link now here? No, I think the truth will clash together like the time travel paradoxon. The vocal. Yeah, is the vocal also there? It is and it is not. I mean, it is. Like here. This is the beginning.
The spring is my love.
You see here.
Leaves of spring rustling in the trees. Sceneries which fulfill my...
So, in the beginning, you can see I have aligned it here very nicely. It's in there, but there are some things missing. I mean, some things technically are different because it was Pro Tools. 8-channel artist recording, really great. And those were mono files, and I made them here. This. And put them to a stereo file. I could do it also with these, but I was too lazy because, yeah. But this one is missing, and I think it was another round of mixing together things. Like, because I only had, like the Beatles, I only had 8 tracks back in the day on artist recording. So I often had to, if I worked with complex things like this choir, I mean, talking about complex, yeah? I mean, would you like to see how it looked like back in the day, yeah? Okay. So, this is a small collage I did with some footage. This was early 96. So, it might not be really the week where spring was born, but it's generally not far from it, time-wise, and which I can see, for example, in the effect rack, because I see the PCM 80 is there, but the PCM 90 that I have used for reality vocals is not there yet. It has to be bought yet. Yeah, so it was before reality, definitely. And I also see... what can I also see? Oh, I already have the very first Dupfer modular up left, you see, so... yeah, it's, I think it's January. I would guess January 96. And yeah, this was what I was working with back in the day. No, not my studio with 16 years. I'm 22. No, I'm 21 there. I'm 2 months from 22, from my 22nd birthday. Which was in the week where I produced Spring. Yes. So, yeah, Steffen is here. So, back in those days, I was working with Steffen, also known as the Microwave Prince, and now a very well-respected mastering engineer and also a builder of the Stellwerk. You remember last session? Yes, wait, here. Let me show you. Do you see it? Come down. Here, this one. This one and several other great devices were custom built by Steffen Müller, who's in the chat. Give him an applause, please. He also did a Redemption remix that was quite well received. Maybe we need another session about Redemption. So yeah, and now I'm totally out of concept. But nice to see you, Steffen. Yes, what was I talking about? I was talking about the technique and about I only had what was it called, the 8-track Pro Tools Digital Design thing, session 8 I think it was called. So I had 8 tracks of audio and I bounced things, and one iteration of it got lost. This one here, this is not here, and here, but and also the vocals after that, at least. Here's something more.
Lisa Spring.
That's the whispering, but the middle part, here, yeah, that's missing. It's not meant that I don't have it anymore because it's bounced here, so the single pieces should be there, but I seem to have bounced it to stereo here and deleted the original parts in here, and so yeah, that was the question: are the vocals there? So at least the beginning is there. So let me just then talk a little bit about the beginning. So this really soft beginning. What I also wanted to do was, oops, I see a question that is quite easily answered. This is Marion Harmeyer, and I will type it in here just because. Yeah, so the beginning here was done with one of the first physical modeling synthesizers. Oh, I didn't take a picture of this. Okay, I'll need to, let me just, because I have this collection of toys. Aren't they ugly? I will come to that later, but let me just have a quick Google about on another browser, so I don't need to close this one. Therefore, I will have Chrome, and I will simply Google. You can see me Googling, right? Yeah. Yamaha VL1M. Because that's the device that did the intro. I mean, I did it, but with this device. What? Look at that price. I mean, it's a... You can... What this one can do, you can do 16 times on any phone. Today. So it was a really big box. It had 2 voices. It was a duophone, so no chords. And I used it with a breath controller. So I literally blew the intro. Really, what I did was I programmed a physical modeling sound that was done by blowing. We could also have strikings and things and bowing, I think. But it was blown, and the amount of air or the pressure of air going in was calculated by the amount of my pressure into a mouthpiece. So, and I put at least 6 or 8 values I put on knobs via Midi on a not modular. It was on a not modular. No, not modular wasn't there yet. The first one, the Nord lead, and I wiggled the knobs and I blew. It looked like this one, like the microphone here, like a little lav mic. I made another mic from. So, and I blew into it and I turned the knobs, and I did that for 2 hours, and when I thought that's cool, I recorded it. And that's the beginning. And also with those up and downs, and that's the device that did it. Yes, back to here. So this here. It's 4 lines M. It went out. I can see here. It went out to Uniter MIDI interface port 8 and up and down. Let me have a look into that. It was actually just doing some controllers, and yeah, it had 2 voices, as you can see, yeah, and I used them. So this was the beginning, and it then modulated, you know, the beginning, into something squeaky but with tone. And yeah, I wanted to do. Let me show you. I wanted to do, if the MIDI would work, I would have tried to do it with this one here, there, behind the cables there. This one, Elements. It's a modular physical modeling synth, and it has, I think, it has quite similar algorithms. So based on K+ Stronger, I guess, with a noise initiator, because it has also the blow here. And I also bought extra for this a breath control. But yeah, it's not there yet. Maybe we need to have a second coming here. Okay, let me just go back to here. I switched the cam, yeah. So that was the beginning here. And then we have the whispering. I also saw, again, I always remembered that we were recording vocals and weren't like singing, and we weren't very happy with the outcome. And after several tries, we did it whispering. Yes, you know it because it's on the CD. And what I also found out that this was on several days. So Marion came back, and we also did whispering in between. Yeah, crazy. So vocals then, and the main sound. Let's talk about the main sound. It's this channel, and yes, what should I say? I would also love to trigger my Roland JV, and yeah, what's the main sound made of? Oops, no, this one. Oh, where is it? Here. See, bottom left. That's the original JV. It's the mainstay of bread and butter synth sounds of the 90s, mid 90s to late 90s, and it had a orchestra pizzicato sample that was used by others as well. Unbelievable. And there was the trick to send that one to a reverb that was gated, like real analog gate. And if you see on the bottom right, there are 3 Sony devices that I also owned back in the days, and the middle one, the R7, was the reverb that was used. It was also used on the Redemption vocals only. I didn't have any lexicon for Redemption, but it's not about a Redemption here. So it was my first, a little bit better reverb, and I used it there with this Pizzicato sound, and I put it into an analog gate, which was sidechained by the dry signal, by the way. So it really cut this Pizzicato sound reverb off, and then of course a little bit going into the red, into the, where is it? Here, up left, turned around, quite strange looking photo of, right here in the middle, Mackie 8 Bass. The analog mixing desk of the mid-90s. And for the price, it was not very expensive for such a big desk. Quite a good saturation. So if you want to listen to the saturation of this mixer, listen to Madman's Legend, also by a very well-known Rave formation that coincided with my initials. So that was that. And this main sound, I wanted to try to do that. I can't do it because the external Midi doesn't work. I tried it back down here, external Midi, there, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't work. I don't know why. I think that coming from the 90s, it really destroyed the Midi, the inner Midi works of this song, and I cannot trigger. But what I can do is trigger virtual instruments, like this. And as you can read here, there's another thing to talk about. This is called Ever Never. Why is it called Ever Never? Because it's the melody from Ever Means Never. An earlier track than Spring, done by me under the name of Manitou. Yeah. A man of great taste. No, it was a joke. But Manitou. Manitou in Africa was the first joke, so let me have a sip. Oh, I saw someone that's from the Ruhrpott there. I'm also drinking drinks from the Ruhrpott sometimes. Ready for Spring, just jam. Pazzi is asking, where did I get the idea for Spring? There's a misunderstanding between professionally creative people and the others. Because, I mean, if you... Back in 96, it was my main profession, doing music. And if it's your main profession to do something creatively, usually you are not sitting at a pool and waiting for inspiration. You just go into the studio or into your place where you work on your art, and you just work. You do your art. You do it. And so this was also the case there. So it really was, this week was really, there was the trigger from the guy that should not be named in here, the other part of the duo back in the 90s, and he said, why don't we use that old melody of yours again? This Ever Means Never, it was great. And I said, yeah, let me try something with it. And so this melody, of course, started it. So, yeah, we are in E minor. Can we have... So, it was like... And this melody, of course, I have to admit, I mean, it's constructed, you know, it's... I often constructed melodies back in the days, like... It's really, you can... You see it. I mean, it's constructed around the changing chords. If I remember correctly, I really had, with the Ever Means Never melody and the melody from Spring, the second melody, I had the chords first. And yeah, I come from here to there, but let's talk about chords, because what I now funnily saw was that, or was reminded of, that the other main part, you know, the this part is the melody. I mean, it's based on partly on the Ever Means Never melody, but it's also composed around the chords, and the chords are, what should I say? I think the best description for those chords are the sensitive female chords. You can Google that, because it's around, for people who know, it's 6 4. No, let me see. 6 4. Like, I mean, that's the main. The first two chords are the main chords of any electronic music that is not in major, because it's usually the simple tonic in minor you call the sixth. So we are in E. I can also see my fingers or something. Yeah. And the simplest move you could do is just move one finger, one half step up is on this. And this alone, I think this change alone was base of half of my works in the 90s. Because it's so powerful. It's so minimalistic and powerful. And a lot of electronic music is just based around this. But then you have, and this is someone in the interwebs found out or called it the sensitive female, like it's 6th and 4th, and 1 and 5, the chords. And sensitive female, he found out that going to festivals, a lot of sensitive female singers used those chords, and those chords are also famous for, I think, this Guaranteed Hit viral video that was going around 10 years ago. No. And those are the main chords for any epic cinematic trailer in the last 10 to 12 years. So I was early with these chords. I was really early. I was 10 years early with it, but yeah, it was a hit. So I'm happy with it. So I had this chord. I was playing around, and yeah, for this part, it's definitely the chords. I played around with E minor and was like, this is of course always E and C. I did that 1,000 times, like A and F, A minor and F major. And I thought, okay, where can I go from there? And I thought, yeah, that's powerful. And then I had the beginning of the original Ever Means Never. No. See, yeah, this one. This one is Ever Means Never. And I was like, yeah, what do I do with this one? And I want to go to there. And I really constructed it. I really played around on a piano. No, not on. Did I do it on a piano? I had my piano back in Grüten. I don't remember. But I remember that I really constructed it around the chords. And yeah, so this one. Why is it not playing? Yeah, external Midi is not working. Also, what I did a lot was when I played some things in, I really went into the piano bar here. I mean, not the bar with the piano, but this is piano roll. It's not piano bar, it's piano roll. God damn, it's a long day. So, and I really, you can see it in the echo here. See, this one, I will just put it into the piano so you can hear it. I'll need to pitch it down a little bit. So, and you see that was a technique that I used before I had a rack full of effect devices. You see here, bottom right. Before I had that, I found out ways to have some kinds of echoes without having an echo machine, and so I programmed it in Midi and as much as possible, because then you have overlaps. If you think this through, Here it's missing because you would otherwise overlap with the main melody. But where there are gaps, I put it in, and it's a kind of ducking, which is usually a technique to do it when you have an external device doing the echo. But I often programmed it in the piano roll, just because, in the early 90s I had no other means of it, but it gave a special sound. And talking about special sound, what I wanted to try is, let's just have, maybe there's a pizzicato sound in here. Bum bum. Full strings pizzicato. Let's try this. And let's see how that sounds. Oh, we can have that. This doesn't work, so we can have it here. See. I mean, you see where this is going to. So it's not totally different. And also when you do it with Midi here, and not with an external device, you can do things like just playing octaves with a melody and then having the echo just in one of the octaves. And it's really a great example of your limitations can be your way to unique sounds and unique techniques. And I started doing this in the early 90s without having, I think I borrowed one LXP1 and one LXP5 for making my DUT master, but I did not own an effect device, and so I used this technique, but I used it as I had a lot of devices, just because it was helpful. So whenever you have not the dream machine, the machine of your dreams, and you think, oh, I need this 10,000 euro, I don't know, piece of gear, forget about it. Just go on. Use what you have, and if there's something in mind, let's say you want to write orchestral music and you say, I can't hire an orchestra, then just use a virtual one. I can't pay 1,000 euro for a virtual orchestra, a good one. Then get a cheap one and make it sound unique, and don't try to make it sound like Hans Zimmer or John Williams, because you wouldn't, even with a real orchestra. So make it your own sound. These are some lessons for free when we are looking for Weir's definitions update. Great. So that was about the main sound. I need a red thread here. Should I have a look into the chat if I missed something? How do you get the ideas for the different patches of combination of machines at these times? Today? No, we are not talking about these times. No, we are not talking about today, because it was different then. But ideas for patches. It was really like the melody constructing. It was also mental constructing of what can I use with what in the studio. See again here, there were a lot of cables. If you see in the middle the Mac bus, all the insets were wired to a patch bay. You see it on the bottom photo in front of the speaker. There was a full patch bay, so like in the big studios, you could wire anything to everywhere, to anywhere. No, anything to anywhere this way. And I tried things out. I really analogically sent sounds from there to there and distorted things. And I also remember one track. Which one was it? I had a drum computer. I think I bought secondhand, the Kawai XD. I don't know, and the drums were shitty. They were really. But I had this. You see it in the bottom picture. Just left from the speaker, you see this TLA compressor. It was called a valve compressor. It's not a valve compressor. It's a cheap VCA compressor with a valve in front of it. But ask Stefan about it. The TLA, he knows it. And but I was distorting these chimp drums with it, and I think it was at least put into some live stuff, but I think it also went on widescreen somewhere. I have to, but you have something you don't like, make it something you like, by just trying things out, destroying things, overemphasizing things, diminishing things. Just typical creative techniques that you should use with anything that you're not happy with. Either because you don't have the budget for bigger, better, bolder, or if, I don't know, say you can't play the piano really great. So, then construct your melodies or paint them in like Deadmau5. I mean, one of the most successful DJ producer of the last 15, 20 years, I don't know. He can't play a chord. Don't tell anyone. And he produces great electronic music, and very successfully so, in his own way. Find your own way. So, other questions. E minor to A minor. Was it the ever means never? Oh, no, wait, there was the piano. Well, the second one could be A minor, yeah. This one. I don't know if you mean this one. When you finished the song, did you know it was going to be released? Yes. Because it really was, I mean, we were, it was quite okay running with Low Spirit, and it was really meant to be a hit, not like a cheesy everyone dances hit, but use your time wisely, produce something that's a single. We called it a single those days, you know. Album tracks were always interesting, but the main work was the single. So a pre-calculated hit somehow, but So after the album, did you have all the options, or could it have been rejected? No. I mean, it could. If it really would have been shit, then they might have rejected it. But if it, I mean, shit. No, I wouldn't have done shit. But let me say, if it wasn't sounding like a hit like Spring, I mean, they also released Shadows, and Shadows never was sounding like a hit, right? It was a mixture of two styles that, some people like, but it was not something people would say that's a hit. And I think Spring was, with Redemption, the one of the R&B act that was, when anyone heard it, they could say, that might be successful. There are very interesting stories about the year before, because there was really the thing that we had the fourth single out from the album, from the first album, and it didn't go that well because it was the fourth single, and the album was selling good, but it was 66 in the charts. So we really thought, oh, that's it. I mean, we thought after doing the New York video and was it Passport to Heaven? Yeah, that's it. We had our hit with Redemption, and even Love is an Ocean was a little bit less successful than Redemption, I think. I don't know. But then the fourth single was like, that's it. I mean, we were young. So there was some second guessing about, should we do that professionally? There's the question about the name who should not be named here. From Trans Energy. What a name. Yeah, mail him. Ask him. No, I don't have any contact anymore. Not really. No. When you finished the song, did you know it was going to be... you are talking about power chords. No. No, power chords are missing the third, and I love thirds. I mean, the main melody, there's the third. It would be a waste to put it on a power chord, like, because you have the minor third is really, really nice. I use it a lot, and I mean, the second note is also the minor third. The third of the minor chord of the tonic. If you call the minor the tonic. Same key, did you notice? Tonic dominant, subdominant. No, I don't understand that. Now, what I was referring to was just Google it. Sensitive female. It must be there. Someone please Google it and look it up if there's still a page about the sensitive female chords. Yes. Sensitive females. Yeah. International Women's Day was yesterday or day before something. I was first shocked by spring. Yeah. Okay. Job done. Because the singer before was really not successful in our view, in our very young and inexperienced view. But spring was a shock also. I mean, that was the big problem after spring. I mean, think about it. You have something using 16th notes with 165 BPM. What do you do next? I mean, I really had a hard time at beginning with reality, which was called micro brave, like the microwave, just brave. This one was called the werk, like it's and the werk was split into werk, which was whispering then, and spring werk was spring after. It's just, you know, those names. I mean, when you first save your first ideas, you have to put in a name. These names, I mean, and the reality was microwave. But I really had a problem with reality, just because, also because spring is quite good for what it is, 165 BPM, rave, melodic, techno, whatever. A former it was built on a former good melody and has a second melody. There is so much in it. We should go on. There is so much in it. We should analyze it instead of just talking about it. But let's just have a look. Many thanks for the explanations. Really, just by experimenting. Experimenting, and sometimes it can be work. Like, I mean, back in the days, I usually was at least 12 days in this cellar here. I mean, it's as you can see. Do you see on the left, in the window in the picture on the left, you see my window. Do you see the setting sun over the ocean there? No, I didn't too, because it was a cellar. I just got some remains of daylight came into it, but not very much because I worked in the night mostly. Sleeping till 11 and then starting around noon or afternoon. I'm working usually at least till 3 a.m. So back in the days. I mean, 22. We all have been 22, right? Yes, the night is great. And I didn't see a lot of daylight those days. And where should inspiration come from? Now I just work through it. Yeah, Wikipedia. 1564. No, that's not it. 1564 is... Yeah, it's a variation of it, but... It's the major version of this. You start with a major chord, but who does it? I did it once with Experience. It's the only R&B song in major. So you see, I love minor. What about Money to Track Before Spring? Yeah, what about it? Did you buy it? No. See, I had to work more on it so that you buy it, and you did. Did you buy Spring? Yes, so I did my work. Sensitive female chord progression. Literally googled it. Great. So there is some of my brain left. Good. Good orchestral. Okay, I don't can. Why is that? Well, I mean, you were the one who always had bad luck. Yeah, because the other one was talking with the director about what we will do. He was also often in front in the pictures, you know. Yeah. I think things happen. It's a 50% chance. I mean, yeah. Do you remember which speakers they were? Yeah, of course, Genelex 1032. Of course. Because Steffen Müller had Genelex. Steffen, are you still there? Did you have the 32 too? Yes, you had. Not the 31, yeah. 30. And back in the days, I think the radio stations had the little ones, the 1030s. everywhere. I think even 1Live, which was called WDR 1 back then, or was it 1Live? So Genelec. Yes. Okay. What else? Okay. A friend told me that he can send me a JV 1080. Yes. Doesn't help. I need a working MIDI device or a MIDI core inside my DAW, which will happen if I might import this into a fresh Logic X10 song, or maybe I also have a look into here. This is the environment, and you can see all the MIDI devices that were present back in the day, and I think this is a little bit the reason why my externals now don't work, because it was constructed, I think, quite differently from now, and I mean it's 25 years of technologic evolution, and what's that? Spectrum synth, yeah. So, but we can see what I had connected to my computer back in '96, which is interesting. I had the Doppler 404. I had the A100 modular system. The Prophet was it was the Prophecy, the Korg Prophecy, I think. The Pulse microwave, Waldorf Pulse monophonic bass synth. This one was the Akai. It was an S1100. Not 1000, but 1100. The D10, my first full-size keyboard. Roland D10. Shrotty sounds, but yeah, first one. The bigger sampler, EMU E64 with great filters. The JV. Kurzweil K2000. I had a Nord lead. I had a microwave. Steffen, are you still there? And that one is a Spectrum synth I never really used. And the VL1M for the Blase sound. On the bass station. I never liked the bass station. I put it away here, you know. You know that the screen resolution back in the days was like this. This was full screen. Yeah, you know. Okay, and I think I mean, if I put it in here, somewhere here is the problem why my externals do not work. But I mean, we can do something here with just sending it out into a reverb, and I don't have the plugin of this device because it doesn't exist. But let me think what should come close. No, I will just use the one that is the most easily editable. So, sending the same bus. I don't know if I have something visible. So it was really. And then, very important thing, we need a gate. I don't know, I never used. Oh, there are gates. I usually don't use gates, so I'm not. I have the fab filter too. And we will use the sidechain. We will use the bus, which is dry. You see it's coming, yeah? There a little bit of hold. And that was really also very fummelig, rather finicky back in the analog days. But you see it's not very far from what I've done back then. I will love to show you with the original sound from my version of the JV, which is a small device, but it's the same sound. So, this is how I did it back then. What is the location of the making of the Spring video? It's St. Peter-Ording. It's in Germany. I think the last video that was shot in Germany. Back in the days, I was the webmaster. We mixed up the two producers because we didn't know who was who. Yeah. Martin. You shouldn't write that there. Can we ban him? No. Okay, so back into here. Let me have a look. I mean, we are closing into 1 hour territory here. So I had a brief look in here, and I saw some things that I really remember. There was one thing I was really happy with. You can see whenever I write something like cool into a box of MIDI notes. I was very happy with them, and this is why I need more time to find this original sample, because back in the days, you saw the list of MIDI devices. It was really not like nowadays. I mean, compared, this is my whole setup here. When I go into MIDI instrument and I will look up some of my, and these are all instrument folders, and there are some subfolders, and some of these have thousands or 10,000s of presets, like the Diva or the Zebra, great things, synths, and of course it's, where is it? There is a Rompler, so the Omnisphere, really great, working piece to work with, 10,000 sounds or more, or the complete. Let me show you here. This one, Native Instrument Complete solution. I think about a little bit more than 50,000 presets just in here. Just, you can browse them, and totally crazy times. But back then, this was all we had. I had, and we owned. I had, and still, like in the beginning of the 90s, like with my early productions or even Redemption, I used a lot of samples where I now would prefer synths. So for synth sounds, I used samples, and samples those days were kilobyte, not megabyte big. So, but this was giving them a special sound, and the main great sound, I think it was this cool track here, was a sampled synth sound, and it was played quite frantically. If you have a look here, I can make it bigger for you to see. And yeah, I mean, it was also, as you can see, I think I talked about this, I often used the velocity back in the days with synth samples to modulate the starting point. I did it here. As you can see, let me show you the velocity. The velocity goes back and forth, and this would modulate the starting point of this sample, and it was quite sure not a multi-sample. So it would sound really thin up there and a little bit mushy down here, but this was the sound, and this is the that really goes forward. I should do something like that for my techno continuum. We will continue working on next Wednesday and the following Wednesdays again. Yeah, but using a technique that we have found here. Yeah, why not? Yeah, sue me. Now, just using the technique, of course. What else can we find here? What's it? Oh, the VL1 played a melody. Oh, I didn't remember that. Let me just put it down here into the piano. Okay. That was there also played by the blase sound, by the blowing, by the physical modeling. Interesting. I didn't remember that. And some bass that became legato here. Ooh, difficult to mix. But I didn't care back then. The main sound then also was played in octaves later, more. And I hear like this. Yeah, give me more. But it was sounding more like that. With a different sample, of course. But you get the idea. I can't play too much because the two universes will collide. You know. What else? Here's more of cool. It was also doubled with a bass. With a bass synth, not bass sample. Let me have a listen to that. Let me just draw it down here. All us have. I don't. So of some tracks, I can read what MIDI device they were sent to. like the JV, and here the K is the chord smile. The E64 was for my drums, as you can see. And yeah, but I can't see which device this was. But could it be a sampler? Where's the... No, Sam was my first sampler, the Akai. And this must have been a different instrument. It could have... No, the 404 was called 404 in the system. Oh, I don't know. But I named it... Oh, the microwave also had... There was also one microwave sound that I used a lot for bass. But let me just... what I wanted to do is not talking too much, because time is running. Just use usable... Okay, it's... And what's he doing here? Yeah, because there were some really interesting MIDI ideas. I used aliases a lot here. Often today I'll rather use copies because, yeah, it's... Oh wait, we can do that again. Yeah. So, what I wanted to do is I wanted to hear the bass part. Just mute that one, have this one there, and see if that could be the bass. Oh! Sounds like an offbeat bass. Yeah, it was an offbeat bass, and then it was playing something like this. It's just a sine tone now, but you know what I'm talking about if you know the song. And I have all the Akai samples are in my box here, because here 9600 was the last R&B owned computer, and I imported the whole stuff. There's also Blue Skies was the working title of Redemption. See, here's the hic. No, fast attack. We need to do this one. That's the original sound. Yeah, but the thing is, I could not find... I mean, here's a lot in it. A lot of remixes have their... Follow Me is in here. Often just one bass sample. Yeah, I did some things like this, Just a really crazy sound, and adding this to a normal bass, and this made... Oh, sorry. And this made a lot of drive. Without having great gear back in the days. Here are some unnamed... So, oh, this is dub. Must be Passport to Heaven. Yeah, that was from Passport to Heaven. Serpent, you know that one. Rave remix. Prince of Darkness. Place to Be. Where's that? Yeah, that's the same sample that I used a lot. Because down here, it made a really aggressive thing. We have my samples. Oh no, he doesn't find it. Yeah. Go away. Okay, some things are not there, it seems. But yeah, I didn't find the original, this sample that makes it so great. Oh, no, that's the Place to Be bass drum. I don't know. I don't even know how to find it here, but let's use this one. No, I don't use this one. But yes. Well, we're coming to an end, and let me have a look into the questions again, because, yeah, time is running out. Sorry I didn't have more time to prepare it better. A lot of riddles still for me here, that I might, with more time, find out what I did where, and well, it's a nice riddle for you too. So, how did you meet Marian Harmeyer? Marian Harmeyer was the vocal student, the singing student of the singer of Redemption. So, We did Redemption. We did another track. Steffen, is he still there? Steffen, what did we do after you did a great remix for Redemption and I had this really annoying melody in my head? This was also a major about the moonlight, maybe. And if I remember correctly, and if I saw that in the videos correctly, in the internal documentary videos, it was the voice artist of Redemption, the singer of Redemption, also, and we then asked her. It never was released, and we then asked her for the next singer, and she said no. No, you didn't even release my last work with you, and I'm a professional opera singer now, and but I have a student who learned singing from me, and you can have a phone number, and we called her, and yeah, that's it, Marion. You made the samples by yourself? Well, not all. No, yeah, there were some. No, there were not many CDs, but this one I for sure didn't. Did I do that one? No. Yeah, Steffen Miller remembers Moonlight. I have some video material from that. Yeah, I try to understand what's happening in the sound, but it sounds like really harsh distortion, and something is. Again, I don't think that I did it because I didn't have a lot of analog gear that was worth sampling, and there were what was it called, Time and Space, the first sampling CDs that everyone used, so maybe there was a snippet of that. I mean, it's just this tiny snippet, and it's the question of what you do with it. And I mean, oh, here, Moog Bass. That was a simple sample for Marimba Love. Some people do know that, like, what's it? Oh, the bass drum from Marimba Love. Yeah, it was coming out of the left channel because I back then didn't. Yeah, I had some special technique, and I used a Moog Bass sample because, of course, I didn't have a Moog Bass. What's that? And some choir samples. Also, the beginning. Choir sample. This one. This one you can find now in Omnisphere. Believe it or not, because it's a choir that morphs through the vocals, through the vowels. Why-yo. And it's done by Eric Persing. I think it was a sampling CD for Time and Space or someone, and he licensed that to them, and I think the contract after 100 years ran out, and he put it into Omnisphere. I'm quite sure, please, some people try to find it. But these samples, I mean, I play two chords correspondingly, with two different sounds, so it's not just a preset, but the original sound of it, I'm quite sure if I had more time I would search for it, but I'm quite sure you can have it in Omnisphere right now. Yeah. Some last questions. Let's go to the Mayday folder. What's in the Mayday folder? Mayday, Huh. I think we began a live set with this one, right? Something like that. I mean, all those samples, let me show you once again, all those samples up there, the Akai, I had the S1100, but as a first professional sampler, which enabled me, my first one was the Casio FZ1, but it had 1 megabyte or 2, and this one I bought with 18 megabytes, and it was 6,800 marks back then, and but still 18 megabytes, and so you will not have multi-samples in there, and things were simpler. And if your tools are simpler, you have to have techniques that are more complex to have something like Spring. And you also see that I didn't really save a lot of... you know it. I'm just... you don't see me. I'm just trying out the keys where the samples are. Sometimes just a little snippet of vocals from somewhere, of course from public domain, was just mixed with a synth, and I should do that much more again for my techno continuum, because nowadays, just because I have so many tools, I often want to use them all, and too many of them, and stack. And someone also asked I think 2 or 3 sessions ago about stacking, and it's really that I for some years now try to avoid stacking, because it's possible for anyone now, and this stacking here was a lot of work, because it's really it was all on this mixer there, and you have to do the mix in one concession and put it onto that, because otherwise it would be gone and stuff like that. Nowadays you can just save and edit and work later, and things are not going to be better by this. I think I should really concentrate more on something like these cool things, like if I have a bass and I can't change or stack the sound, what can I do with it MIDI-wise, playing-wise, to make it more interesting, and do something like I did with these here. That was just where is it? Here. I mean, this one and... Did I say that it was a long day for me? Yes, I did. Here, this one. I mean, this one, I'm quite sure that was a sample with the attack modulated by this, and try something like this. We will try something like this. Let's really do something like this in the next session. That's the thing, right? That's a good thing. Who were the vocalists in the place to be? Give me a second.
The place to be.
I don't know. Maybe a pitch shifter too. I must leave. Bye, Joy Patrick. We are also closing. Sorry. Some last questions. Gather some last questions there. And if there are still questions, there is a Facebook group just for us. We 909. When there is something still unclear, or just write me a question there, or send me a message directly in Facebook. I can now that I have this one open and can use it in Logic X, I can have a look into it and find out whatever you want to know. And I think I will try to do some of these techniques in the next session with our Techno Continuum. How many copies of Spring have been sold? I guess, I don't know how many now, if you include all the digital ones, but I know that 1 or 2 years after it, we had, there's a golden record, now that's 250,000, but I think it was 320,000 1 or 2 years ago after it. So 97, 98 around, it was more than 300,000, and I think 320 or 330,000. So yes, my best-selling thing ever. Yes. Universe of Love, yeah.
Universe of Love.
Don't need a pitch shifter. Yes, that was me. But I used also a pitch shifter. I used the pitch shifter of my very first multi-effect device. No, where is it? No, here, it's the Zoom 9010. It's on the bottom right picture in the rec, the white light gray device on the top of the picture. So yeah, you could do 2 mono and 2 stereo effects with this at the same time. Simple, really simple, not good sounding effects, but that was good. I also this was the effect device that I had on my 2nd, 3rd, 4th. So before Low Spirit, but yeah, the R&B tracks time. And I often use two simple mono delays, and a hall and a delay, a reverb and a delay with it, and that's it. I mean, not 20 something. So yeah, and it also has a pitch shifter. That was why. And I also had the Duna chord quite in the middle, the two unit. What is it called? Höheneinheit unit, hate unit. I don't know. The thing in the middle, the gray thing in the middle, below the 2 Roland space thingies. It's a Duna chord. What's it called? DRP 20. I also have this one because this was also a very early acquisition. Who made the photos? These were not photos. This was a video. And the camera. We leave it like that. Which is the favorite song of your entire career, Spring? Sorry to be honest. Not only because it was the most successful, but also, yeah, because I had a hard time half a year trying to improve on Spring, and I couldn't. And maybe we can have a look into Micro Rave, which was then the reality, but it's in so many ways so much simpler or not clever than Spring that it was really like, okay, we leave it like that. And it changed. Everything changed. My former companion always wanted to go away from the rave and wanted to, he listened to hip hop back in the days, and he wanted to do breakbeat stuff, and he liked the English scene, and so he wanted to go somewhere else all the time. Also during the reality production, which was quite difficult, but yeah, after reality I also understood, no, I can't go on there. 165 BPM, yeah, I won't do 170, and the bass drum was hard as hell. I was using hard bass drums for 5 years then, and there was no evolution possible, to my mind. Also, after working on it for months, for me, Spring is the peak of the evolution of melodic hard techno, melodic rave. For me, yeah, that was the first song that I heard that had at least the same energy was then much later by some other guys. I can tell you in the next session, maybe. Thank you. A same style banging track like Spring. Yeah, that's also, yeah. I a little bit touched it here, but we can have a talk about this there's a special R&B legacy group. So if you are really only interested, you do not. I should also play a little bit of my. So if you are only here, I don't know, I didn't see the numbers now, but if you are only here for R&B stuff, let me just play. Just play some things like this. I'm just skipping through it. So these were parts from my Techno Continuum, which is what I usually do here in We909. So we all produce 1 hour, sit here 1 hour and produce on this techno track, which is now, I think, beyond 15 minutes. And it's the continuum, it will never end. So yeah, if you're just here for R&B, maybe you listen in SoundCloud to the V909, and if you like that, to the Techno Continuum, and if you like that, come here back next Wednesday. My name is Rolf Meyer-Bode. I don't think you are here by chance. I think you were here because I did music back in the 90s, but if you're interested in new stuff, look the other things, the other videos. I mean, it will be content soon in YouTube. So, yes. And otherwise, yes, this was it. There is an R&B legacy group that if you are only interested in 90s rave, go there. If you're also interested in newer stuff, please come to the V909 group also. And yes. Yeah, that's it. Thank you for being here. Sorry for my technical problems, as always, and see you next Wednesday, hopefully, when we work further with a new learned technique on our Techno Continuum. See you. And now it's also a running gag, you know. I also have to think about it. When I click there, the stream beend, it does not beend the stream. I need to click it up there before stop streaming, and then it will. And then you will have these crazy stopping